This is the piece of art that got Stephen John the job on the Swamp Thing. Alan met his collaborators recently for the first time.
Stephen John are terrific. I mean, they're a pair of absolute maniacs, and there is no one better to work on Swamp Thing. I mean, it was quite extraordinary. When I was asked to take over the book, one of the things that I was asked was, you know, like, what do you want to do with the character? And I started thinking about it and trying to come up with a way in which we could make him more of a Swamp Thing, that we could show all the little patches of fungus and pin mould and lichen that are growing on him, you know, and actually get an impression that this is a vegetable, that he's crawling with insects, that he's a mass of sodden plant fibre. He's not just a guy in a green suit. And when I wrote this to Stephen John, I mean, they were saying, yeah, this is just what we want to do. You know, it was just pure coincidence, but in two separate countries, we'd seem to have arrived at a similar idea as to how we wish to treat the character. And, of course, Stephen John have been putting in no end of ideas, which I've been picking up on. We're just very much in tune on the book. I mean, I don't know if I could do it without them, because they are just so incredible. They get everything absolutely right. What I'm trying to do is to get into a character who's almost an elemental force. Swamp Thing's intelligence is not human. He experiences what's going on in the soil and the plant life around him. He knows where the insects are laying their eggs. He knows, you know, where the fish are spawning and sort of stuff like that. He's got the whole swamp inside his mind. He's connected to it. And that perspective, it's an alien intelligence. He sees things differently to human beings. His values are different. And he's like an earth spirit. He's a very primal character, a very pagan character. And that's the way I've been trying to sort of interpret him, that his thought processes are very slow and geologic, but that, yeah, he has got this sort of empathy with the earth and the plant life and the bugs and the birds, and it just gives a different perspective. It's very interesting, well, to me anyway, it's a very interesting perspective to write about, to sort of try and get the reader involved in an utterly alien experience, to sort of drag them into something that they've not experienced before, to get them to see through the eyes of this vegetable, you know, to see what the world's like from the point of view of its plant life.
The anatomy lesson was the first turning point in the life of the Swamp Thing. The controversial Love and Death was another, because it was published without the Comic Code approval.
I feel very smug about that. I sort of hug myself in the middle of the night when I think about that, because I like the idea of having Swamp Thing free of the code. Not so that we can do any grotesque physical violence or sex, but so that we can do stories that an adult could read and find something interesting in them. You know, and the fact that we wrote this story, I believe the actual issue 29 was the one that caused the problems. But in that, yeah, I mean, Karen really backed us on that. Karen Berger, the book's editor, she really went and fought for it, and her and Dick Giordano made this very brave decision to go without the code, for which I'm eternally grateful for them. You know, that was terrific. I mean, with issue 29, I think that one of the things that happened there was it was a difference in cultures. You know, like I didn't realise that incest and necrophilia were still frowned on socially over here. You know, because of course in England they're part of the whole social fibre. You know, if I'd known that, I wouldn't have done the story, but it happened, and there you go. You know. If you ask somebody outside the comics arena what they think of comics, the first thing they think of is Adam West with his paunch and sort of running up the side of the building and the bam sock pow and all that sort of stuff, which is not a very sort of endearing image. You know, I think we'd like to be taken a little bit more seriously than that, and I don't think that a lot of the films that are coming out about comic book characters are helping any. I'd like to see someone do a really serious film that was as well written as the comics are sometimes. You know, I mean, I think that would be nice, but I've not got any real hope of it happening in the immediate future.